Hi guys, this is Rob at Optimal Bodies, and today we're going to talk about carbohydrates and mainly timing of them. So when should you eat your carbs? Common question that gets asked, and mainly from what I've read or ever heard or from other people, they seem to be under the impression that you should have your carbs in the morning. So cut your carbs after 5, 6 p.m, something like that. So to understand this information, we need to go back to what happens when you wake up in the morning. So fat cells and muscle cells, they need insulin to absorb nutrients. So when we eat some carbs, insulin gets released from your pancreas to help absorb the carbs that we've eaten. In the morning, your fat cells and muscle cells are quite sensitive to insulin. So that's where the idea came from, eat your carbohydrates in the morning, because we can absorb them. The problem with this is, muscle cells, they'll absorb the carbohydrates and store them as glycogen, which is an energy source for high energy output anaerobic activity, so weightlifting, sprinting, that sort of thing, which is good. We need that energy. The problem is when these carbohydrate stores are full, the next tissue to be deposited in is fat cells, which have an infinite capacity to store fat. As you can see, obesity is at its highest, and people just get fatter and fatter. There's no ending. Whereas in muscle tissue, it only has a limited capacity to be stored as glycogen. So you eat them in the morning. If muscle cells are full of glycogen, which most people's already are, if you eat carbs like every meal, all day, every day, then they'll be stored as fat and stored as triglycerides. So that's where this information came from. Eat them in the morning, we can absorb them. If you do the opposite of this, so eat your carbohydrates at night, what happens is throughout the day your insulin sensitivity actually drops, so it becomes slightly insulin resistant towards the end of the day, which means your muscle cells and fat cells will struggle to store the carbohydrates, which is good on a fat cell perspective, because basically we struggle to get fat if we eat carbs towards the end of the day. So there's a little hidden trick here. We need to train some sort of activity that's going to deplete our glycogen stores, which is to store carbs in the muscle. So if you're into weight training, sprinting, CrossFit, that sort of thing, you're going to be depleting your glycogen stores, which is a good thing. So say you train about after work, 5 p.m, 6 p.m, perfect time to train. So you go all day, protein and fat, avoid the carbs. We train, and then the changes that happen in your muscles, you've depleted the carb stores, so your muscles really love to soak up the glucose, the carbs. So any sugar, carbs, potatoes, rice, bread, that sort of thing, is going to be soaked up by your muscle cells, and because we've waited till the end of the day, your fat cells have become insulin resistant, but because we've trained, the muscle cells are now sensitive to it. So you basically picked which tissue you want to deposit the carbs in. You've avoided the fat tissues to be deposited in, and you've put it in the muscle. So for one, we haven't got fat. 2, we've burnt fat all day. And 3, we've filled up carb stores to be used the next time we train. So we don't need carbs the next day because they're nice and full from that night we've had the carbs. So long story short, eat your carbohydrates at night. If you want any more information on this topic, just post some comments below, send me a private message, anything like that, and I can tell you more information about it. Thanks for listening. Any other topics, anything to do with the health and fitness industry, give me a message, and thanks very much. So eat them carbs at night.